In the last video, we talked about the peace tax. We talked about how peace isn't just the vibe. It's not just, I feel calm today. Peace has an operating cost, and sometimes we're paying that cost because we've given the wrong people access to parts of our life they didn't earn. And we ended with an access audit because I really believe a lot of women aren't weak. We're just undertrained in discernment. Now today, we're moving into video 2 of Peace Economics. And this one is called Hidden Fees in Relationships. Because here's what I've noticed, especially with women who have big hearts and high tolerance. It's rarely one giant problem that drains us. It's the little charges, the little subscription fees that we didn't realize we signed up for. And by the time we notice, we're sitting there like, wait, why am I exhausted? Why do I feel foggy? Why do I feel like I can't think straight? So today I want to lay out 4 hidden fees that show up all the time. Confusion, over-explaining, waiting, and self-doubt. And here's the key. I'm not just going to validate you and send you on your way. We're going to talk about what these fees do to you, how to recognize them, and how to start plugging the leak without turning your life into a war zone. Because the goal isn't control. The goal is clarity. I want to say something up front before we get into it. This video is corrective, but not in a you're wrong way. Corrective in a teaching way. It's kind of like, hey, if you've been doing this, there's a reason, and you can change it. Because a lot of this starts as survival behavior. You don't become an over-explainer for fun. You become an over-explainer because at some point in your life, you learned that if you didn't justify yourself, you'd be criticized, misunderstood, punished, or made to feel stupid. So, if you see yourself in this, don't collapse. Just notice, and then adjust. Okay, let's talk about the hidden fees. I want you to imagine yourself looking at a receipt, like a literal receipt, and you're reading it like, wait, I didn't order that. I didn't authorize that. Why is that on my bill? That's what these fees are like. They're not always obvious, but they show up in your nervous system. They show up in your body. They show up how you communicate. They show up in how you make decisions. And if you don't name them, you keep paying them. Hidden fee number 1, confusion. Confusion is getting yourself lost in what you're trying to say. And I want to expand just a little bit. Confusion is what happens when you can't tell what's true anymore. Not because you're incapable, but because the environment around you is inconsistent. Confusion is when you walk away from a conversation and think, wait, what just happened? Why do I feel off? Did I say something wrong? Did they mean what they said, or was that a jab? Am I overreacting, or is this actually not okay? Confusion often comes from mixed signals. They say one thing and do another. They promise and then disappear. They apologize and then repeat. They act supportive, then criticize you later. And over time, confusion becomes expensive because it steals your decision making. You start delaying decisions because you don't trust your own read. You start outsourcing your judgment because you don't trust yourself. You start asking 5 people what you should do because you can't access your own clarity. That's a fee. And if you're paying it regularly, that's not just a phase. That's a pattern that needs attention. Hidden fee number 2, over-explaining. Okay, this is a personal one because I do this and sometimes I still catch myself doing it. Over-explaining is giving more information than necessary. Yeah, but I want you to see the motive underneath it. Over-explaining is what happens when you feel like a simple request or decision won't be respected unless you defend it. You say something like, I need that light turned off. And before anyone even asks why, you're already explaining. Well, because I've been feeling overstimulated and I had a headache earlier and I didn't sleep well and the light is too bright and it's making me anxious. And if it stays on, I can't focus. And yeah. And the other person is just standing there like, okay, I could have just turned the light off. Let's call it what it is. That's not communication. That's preemptive defense. And where does it come from? For me, it came from all of these, but mostly being criticized a lot. I trained myself to provide a whole essay so I wouldn't be attacked. I tried to get ahead of the criticism. I tried to make my motives undeniable. I tried to make my needs reasonable. And here's what I want you to consider. Over-explaining is expensive because it puts you in a position where your needs require a courtroom presentation. And once your life becomes a courtroom, peace leaves because you're not living. Instead, you're defending. And because we've had to defend ourselves for too long. Hidden fee number 3, waiting. Okay, this one needs a clear definition before we clarified it in the intake. There's a difference between pausing and waiting. Pausing is a tool. Pausing is when you breathe, regulate, check in with yourself, and choose your next move calmly. That's healthy. Waiting is the hidden fee. Is when you start hovering for someone else's reaction, like it determines your safety, your worth, or your next step. And the way I framed it is actually really powerful. Waiting is when you pause and then you watch, not to obsess, but to gather data. You're waiting to see their next move. Are they going to support? Are they going to correct? Are they going to question for clarity? Are they going to get angry? Are they going to walk away? Are they going to punish you with silence? And here's why that becomes a fee. Because if you constantly have to monitor someone's reaction to feel stable, you're not in a relationship that feels safe. You're in a relationship dynamic that trains hypervigilance. And hypervigilance is expensive. It costs sleep, it costs clarity, it costs regulation, it costs the ability to just be. Hidden fee number 4, self-doubt. Self-doubt is when you think twice or 3 times about something you said or did and think maybe you shouldn't have. Self-doubt is when you replay the conversation like a movie trailer. You analyze your tone, your facial expression, your wording, the timing, your intention. And if you're paying the self-doubt fee constantly, I want you to hear this. It doesn't always mean you're wrong. Sometimes it means you've been trained to distrust yourself. And sometimes you feel like you didn't have anyone there to defend you. So you started defending yourself preemptively. Over-explaining and self-doubt are cousins. They come from the same family. And that family is usually criticism, instability, and a lack of protection. I want to pause here for just a moment because everything I'm talking about in this video is something I've had to sit with slowly. not emotionally, not all at once, and not under pressure. That's why I created Guard Your Proximity. The full paid version is a comprehensive reflection workbook. It's for women who already sense that something feels off, not necessarily in their relationship, but in the environment around them. The voices they're hearing, the conversations they're having, and the way certain interactions linger long after they're over. The paid guide goes deeper. It includes structured reflection prompts to help you notice who has repeated access to your thoughts during vulnerable moments, how certain conversations affect your emotional safety, and whether the environments you're in are stabilizing you or quietly introducing doubt. It's not about fixing your relationship. It's not about confronting anyone. It's not about being told what to do. It's about protecting your inner space while clarity is still forming. And if you're not ready for something that in-depth, or you just want a starting point, there's also a free version linked below. The free guide is shorter and more introductory. It helps you understand what guarding proximity actually means. You can begin by noticing which voices linger in your thinking and reflect how certain spaces make you feel calmer or more unsettled. There's no advice in either version, just structured reflection. Both are linked in the description. Start where you are, move at your pace. If this conversation about influence and environment is resonated, I've linked my Guard Your Proximity reflection guides below. Now, this is where I want to draw a boundary line so nobody twists what I'm saying. This is not me telling you never explain yourself. This is not me telling you never communicate, because communication matters. Clarity matters. Healthy relationships include questions and clarification. I want you to return to discernment and inner landmarks. This means when you feel an anxiety spike, notice it. Pause. Breathe. Ask yourself, are they questioning me to understand? Or are they questioning me to control? Are they asking for clarity? Or are they trying to correct me like I'm a child? Are they helping, or are they collecting information? Once you have those answers, you should then ask, why did my body tense up just now? Why did I feel unsafe answering a simple question? Why does this feeling remind me of whatever it does? What pattern is being activated? That's not overthinking. That's discernment. That's wisdom. Here's a sentence I want you to sit with. Stop over-explaining to earn safety from people who benefit when you doubt yourself. Because some people, like when you're unsure, it gives them leverage. And if you learned anything from the peace tax conversation, it's that not everyone deserves access to your inner world. Some people will charge you for existing, and we're done paying. Okay, let's get practical, because I'm not leaving you in a void. I'm going to give you a small toolkit, but we're going to lead with one primary next step. For the next 7 days, I want you to track your hidden fees like a receipt. You can do this in your notes app. You can do it on paper. You can do it in a journal. Every day, answer these 4 questions. 1, where did I feel confused today? 2, where did I over-explain today? 3, where did I find myself waiting for a reaction today? 4, where did I experience self-doubt today? And next to each one, I want you to write what triggered it. Who was involved? You can write initials if you want. What did it cost me in that moment? Did it cost me peace, time, energy, confidence? And that's it. Because when you see it on paper, it becomes undeniable. And once it's undeniable, you can change it. Here's a simple rule for women who write essays out loud. Say one sentence and stop. If you need a script, use one of mine. I don't feel comfortable talking about this. I'd rather not discuss this. I need time to process this. Can we change the subject? And then don't add a paragraph. And if the person pushes, don't explain your boundary. Repeat it calmly, because the boundary isn't a debate. Bonus tool number 2, the 24-hour clarity pause. If you're about to send a long message, make a big decision, or feel the urge to defend yourself, pause for 24 hours. Not as avoidance, but as regulation. Tell yourself, I don't have to answer right now. I'm going to just let my nervous system settle before I respond. Because when you respond from anxiety, you usually overpay. When you respond from clarity, you conserve peace. So let's recap. The hidden fees are confusion, overexplaining, waiting for reactions, and self-doubt. And none of those are just phrases if they're repetitive. They are signals, they are data. And your job isn't to shame yourself. Your job is to notice what you're paying for, because you are worth peace, and we're learning how to stop leaking it. In the next video, we're talking about something I'm really excited about because it brings hope: emotional ROI, what a healthy return actually looks like, why effort doesn't automatically equal return, and why intensity is not valued. So do your hidden fees receipt for 7 days and be honest, not harsh. Honest, because honesty is what gets you free. Thank you so much for watching and spending time with me today. If this video resonated with you in any way, I'd really appreciate you taking a moment to like and subscribe. Sharing this video helps it reach someone else who may need it, and that support truly makes a difference. If you'd like to keep coming back, make sure to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss future videos. I appreciate you being here, and I'm grateful you chose to spend part of your day with this content. Take care of yourself, move at your own pace, and I'll see you next time.